like to call the meeting back to order, please, for the open session. And Clerk Prendergast, do you have actions taken in closed session to report?
We do have one. On a 7-0 vote, the board took action in closed session to issue a notice of rejection of claim number 648915 pursuant to Government Code Section 913. The governing board further authorizes the Vice Chancellor of Business Services or her designee to issue any appropriate notices. That is all.
Thank you. We will now have the invocation led by Trustee Bartlett and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Trustee Dack.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed their time off in December for the holidays. As we start a new year, I think it's so important to count our blessings for all that we have. We are so fortunate to live in a country where we have unlimited opportunities if we apply ourselves. The chance to enrich our lives with education, music, religion, fulfilling careers, and family. It is easy to take these things for granted because we're so accustomed to the freedom and ability to choose. It is easy to get caught up with our day-to-day lives, and sometimes we overlook those right around us. We forget to smile and say a simple thank you. So as we start this new year, let's not only work hard on our personal and professional goals and objectives, but take a moment to enjoy time with family, friends, loved ones, and coworkers, and to show that we care and are ready to lend a helping hand at any time. A few positive words and gestures can go a long way and make someone's day special and memorable. And they take that and pay it forward, and one by one, we make the world a better place.
If you would join me in our Pledge of Allegiance to our democratic republic. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. There. Okay. We do have several public comments, and I've got this on right. Sorry. And I would remind you that the time limit is 2 minutes, and we will be enforcing that. First, please, Erlene Follow.
Good evening, Chancellor and members of the board. My name is Erlyn Ballo, and tonight I'm addressing you in public comments as a private citizen and resident of Mission Viejo. I'm here to express my deep concern regarding recent executive actions by the Trump administration and how they impact our undocumented, queer, and other marginalized students. Executive orders targeting birthright citizenship, LGBTQ+ rights, and diversity initiatives foster fear and uncertainty. Undocumented students and colleagues face greater risks as immigration policies tighten, while federal challenges to gender definitions erase recognition of transgender individuals. Dismantling our diversity programs further marginalize those who look to these initiatives for support. Unless we actively combat it, this messaging from our current administration will not only create fear and uncertainty in our students, but also may create what students perceive as unwelcoming and unsafe learning spaces in our very own halls. The effect of these actions runs counter to our goals of providing environments that promote learning, growth, and success. Now more than ever, our district must take a stand. I urge the board to issue resolutions that reaffirm policies protecting undocumented and LGBTQ+ students. I wish that the board would provide support and attend trainings that address these students' unique needs, and also communicate to students that our institutions welcome and serve all communities on our campuses, and that we have protocols and safeguards in place that protect student privacy and information. By prioritizing inclusivity, we ensure that all of our students thrive regardless of their identity or background. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Doug Barr.
Hope I don't use my full 2 minutes to get into the was also going to add some introductory levity to my comments by wearing an Ohio State University sweatshirt. But on a serious note, well, a little bit about me, and this really isn't about me. I was privileged and honored to have a 50-year career in higher education. The last 31 years was here at Saddleback College. In the last 25 years, I was fortunate to be the counselor liaison to the nursing program. In my entire career, I've been very fortunate to have wonderful relationships with very many special people, and I refuse to rank who is more special than the other. But I'm here tonight to address the possible censure of Terry Witt Rydell. I count Terry as among my favorite colleagues, and once again, I'm not going to put you in any kind of order, but the integrity and that she has shown in hard work, and as a former nun and as a nurse, privacy and respect for individuals has been inherent in her whole career, if not her whole life. And I refuse to believe the speculation and innuendos being tossed at her. And it seems to me that somehow something got very off track. And I think there's a lot more critical and important and serious issues that the board can be taking responsibility for. And turn your attention to really what is mattering to the college and to our students. And I thank you very much for your time. By the way, there's people all throughout this room that I consider special colleagues. Some I've known for a long time and some not quite so long. But this is a wonderful place to work with wonderful goals.
Thank you.
I thank you for
Thank
listening.
you. The next one is David Jones.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David Jones. I am a United States Marine Corps veteran, a reentry student, and currently pursuing an associate's degree in health science with the goal of achieving a bachelor's degree in nursing. I am the current president of the Saddleback Student Veterans Club, and I would like to take this opportunity to convey my sincere appreciation on behalf of myself and all of the military-affiliated students at Saddleback College for your continued support of our college's VETS program. On January 1st through the 5th, the Saddleback Veterans Club was able to attend the Student Veterans of America, or the SVA, National Conference in Colorado Springs. The SVA is a premier organization leading in programs, services, research, and advocacy for veterans in higher education, representing 1,600 student chapters in all 50 states. Out of the 1,000 plus college campuses in attendance, our club held one of the largest student representations with 12 students in attendance, 2 wonderful staff advisors, and the Vice President of Student Services. Because of your support and our efforts over the past year, our club was nominated as one of the 5 colleges and universities for Chapter of the Year. We were one of 2 community colleges nominated along with Cornell, Baylor, and the University of Washington-Tacoma. Although we were not selected as the winner, we were honored to be nominated as a finalist from the largest applicant pool in SVA history for Chapter of the Year. At this convention, we were able to attend workshops, lectures, network with other schools and veteran organizations, and even get interviewed by large companies such as Boeing, Disney, and RTX. Most importantly at the conference, our members learned and brought back a myriad of new information and resources that all of our military-affiliated students here on campus will be able to access, utilize, and benefit from. In March of this year, we will be returning to Washington, D.C. to support the SVA's legislative agenda. In fact, many of the club members are actually attending a town hall meeting right now with Congressman Mike Levin at the Elks Lodge in San Clemente, working in conjunction with the Marine Corps League to discuss current issues that the veteran community is facing. Never in my life did I think that I would be writing legislation proposals to a congressman, but even as we speak, our club is presenting one of my proposals to help ease financial burden and provide relief to all veterans on my behalf. I appreciate you all for taking the time to listen to me speak this evening. So once again, on behalf of our 60 club members and all military-affiliated students attending Saddleback College, I'd like to say we are truly thankful for your love and support. And hopefully, I'll get a chance to meet you all one of these days here on campus and get to thank you
Thank
personally.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Sorry.
you very much. And congratulations. The next speaker is Ken Williams.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Dr. Ken Williams. I am currently the president of the Orange County Board of Education. It's a pleasure to be here and to speak to the great trustees of this wonderful district. To begin, I just want to make a comment, Mr. Ryan Duck. This is not a democratic republic. It is a constitutional republic. I also want to express the concern and the future reach out by our district to work with this particular school district on establishing a medical assistance program for our career technical education. I've already begun discussion with the Rancho District, and we will have this medical assistance program for those children who are in high school, who want to go to nursing school, medical school. So it's a great deal of enthusiasm. As a physician, I get to introduce this to Orange County. Lastly, I'd like to talk about the concerns about redistricting. It's a little confusing as to the reason why you want to redistrict. Back in the fall of 2022, this board chose to stay with Plan 3, which was to keep communities together. And it looks like you want to keep communities together, and that is a good thing. Why would you want to redistrict? Well, it looks like externally that it is more of a political endeavor, and that it may not be because you want equal representation. For those who will continue with the possible vote to redistrict, the fee will be about $75,000, as your chancellor has documented in the public documents. And those of you who vote for it, you must be cognizant of the fact of that's a waste of taxpayers' money, and it may invoke litigation as well as a recall of the individual board members who do it for pure political motives. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here. You do a great work for the community.
Okay, next we have board reports. Can we just go down? We don't have to go in this order, right? Oh, you could do it in order. Oh, okay. Why don't we start with, can we start with student trustee?
Okay.
Thank you.
Good af-
No?
Hello. No? Just kidding.
Oh, this is the order? Okay, then I'm first. Sorry. I'll be quick, as we have a lot to do this evening. I loved the two meetings that we had to open the colleges, the opening day. I always like it, but this year in particular, I think they were really excellent. I liked the student panel, of course, and something that has been important to me as a communication major and a 40-year teacher is that I really appreciate in-person learning. I understand the advantages of distance learning, but I really appreciate the teacher and the student being in the same room together. And all of those students that reported had eventually kind of come back for various reasons and talked about connection, and I think that was really important. I liked that. And then at Irvine Valley College, I really liked the way that she took so many important ideas about success and put them in such a simple but easy to understand, not easy to do, but easy to understand. She talked about, first of all, we wanted to have access for all students. And then we added to that to have completion. And now more than ever, I believe, that we are talking about success after the student leaves us. So that's what we're about, and it was so simple, and she was really an excellent, excellent teacher. On Thursday, Trustee Bartlett, Trustee Dack, and I are going to Sacramento to talk to some of our legislator friends. And I'm looking forward to that, as I know that they are too. And these are the opportunities to tell the story. Sometimes people are new and they just don't even know much about community college. So tell the story and ask for their help where that's indicated. So I'm very happy to be doing that. Thank you. So let's have now Trustee Dack.
Thank you, President Inman. So I'll keep this brief. I was fortunate enough to attend Saddleback and IVC's opening session on January 7th. And I just want to say there was an excellent student panel that at the Saddleback opening session that was hosted by President Stern. So I appreciate you giving us some student perspectives, and I hope to hear more from those students again soon in the future. I'd also like to share that the speaker at IVC's opening session was excellent as well, and I think opened a great dialogue on what can be improved in the community college system. And I was very appreciative of both those very different but still very meaningful opening session kind of conversations that were being had. And that is it for me. But beyond this, my thoughts are with those that are in LA with the fires that have been occurring. It occurred after our last board meeting, and I know that many in this community have family members that were affected. So my thoughts are with those that have been affected by the fires.
Thank you, Trustee Prendergast.
Thank you. I don't have anything to report attending, but I would like to reiterate Trustee Dack's concern and condolences for the people affected by the fires in LA, and now looks like down in the San Diego area as well. Not as severe at this point, but still concerning. That's all I have.
Trustee Jamal.
Thank you. I'll be brief. I did attend the Saddleback College President's opening session, at least part of it, and I thought it was well done, like the other trustees have said. Dr. Hernandez, IVC community, sorry I was not able to attend this year through other work-related issues. I could not be there, but I heard great things about it. And then as my two colleagues to my right just mentioned, the wildfires in Los Angeles are terrible, were terrible. I know that I've had dozens of friends and colleagues who've been either displaced or had their entire homes or part of their homes burned down. It's in the hundreds because of the other work I do. I know a lot of people who live and work in Los Angeles. Yes, thoughts are with them, but now it's time for action. I know probably many in this room have taken the opportunity to make donations and then, work towards recovery because it's far from over. There's lots and lots of things that are going to go on over the next few months related to permitting and construction and insurance issues. It's far from over, in addition just to the emotional devastation. So, and I know the California Community College Foundation, I believe, has been fundraising, doing relief efforts as well. So, thank you.
Trustee Bartlett.
Thank you. So I wanted to attend the Saddleback and Irvine Valley College opening sessions. I was really sick that day, under the weather, but I was there in spirit, and I did, they sent me the link, so I was able to view it online and look at the live streaming, and it was really very, very impressive. I tell you, our students with the panel, they are so engaged and very vocal. You don't have to tell them, got to hold back a little bit. They just go for it, and they tell you what's on their mind. And I thought that was really refreshing because they just tell it like it is. And again, I also agree with my colleagues. I know the wildfires have just been terrible, and we're doing a lot in Orange County. Our Orange County firefighters have been going to Los Angeles on a routine basis for mutual aid. And we've had a lot of fundraisers in the area. We've got a music fundraiser coming up. We just did restaurant last Tuesday to aid in the LA fire relief efforts, and I know there's more to come. So stay tuned because I know the surrounding counties are really working hard to help pitch in because it's really it's just devastating when you see what's happened there, and many, many lives affected, but hopefully they will recover shortly. So on a happy note, here, it's always heartwarming for me to hear stories from students who attend or attended one of our college campuses and how they were inspired by a course, a professor, or a counselor to never underestimate themselves as to what they can achieve if they put their mind to it. Such is the case from someone I know from around town, the author of an article and former student on this campus, Noelle Matthew. She has an associate degree in anthropology from Saddleback College, and now she's pursuing a bachelor's degree in anthropology with a biocultural concentration from Oregon State University. Noelle has fond memories of her time taking classes here at Saddleback, and one of her professors recognized that Noelle is really an excellent writer, in addition to her passion for anthropology and cars, antique Mercedes in particular. So during her coursework in anthropology, Noelle's professor encouraged her to take some creative writing courses. So upon that advice, that's exactly what she did. Over time, Noelle has written many articles on various subjects and is now writing a book about recipes with spices that can help heal the body. At one point, Noelle decided to write about her love of cars, particularly her 1998 silver SL 500. On a whim, she submitted her article to Mercedes-Benz Corporate, never thinking they would be interested in even reading it, let alone perhaps publishing it in their national magazine. Well, long story short, Mercedes-Benz contacted Noelle months later and said they loved her article and would be publishing it in their first magazine, or their magazine first quarter of 2025. So needless to say, Noelle was surprised and thrilled. Circling back to her time here at Saddleback, Noelle's incredible talent for writing, discovered by one of her professors at Saddleback College, has led Noelle in directions that she never imagined. Noelle credits her educational experience here as a catalyst for her pursuing her dreams of a career in anthropology and expanding her talent and love of writing, all because one professor took the time to discover her writing abilities and to encourage her to take classes to master those skills. And this is Noelle's article that is now published in the Mercedes-Benz magazine. So you can go to one of the dealers and take a look at it if you want to, but pretty impressive. And it all started with that one professor that gave her the courage to pursue things in directions that she never thought she could do. She never thought she'd be an author or a master at writing articles and things. So great job to our faculty, staff here, and administration, and everyone engaged, because it takes a team to get a lot of things done here and to inspire students. And I think that's something that everybody strives for here every day. At least that's what I've seen personally. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Milchiker?
Yes. So Professional Development Week, as many spoke about, is held the week before classes start, and it provides an invaluable opportunity for administrators, professors, and classified professionals to connect, share their best practices, and prepare for the semester. And I never miss the President's opening sessions, which are always insightful and inspiring. This year, President Stern at Saddleback College hosted a panel of students giving us a firsthand look at these students' challenges and achievements. Students juggle full course loads, work full-time, and face so many personal struggles, like losing loved ones during the semester. They express gratitude for resources such as counselors, success coaches, tutoring centers, and student mentors. They learn about this primarily via their professors. They don't do email much, but that's how they learn about it. A standout idea from President Stern was to include a warm, welcoming message at the top of the syllabi and to prioritize direct engagement with students. At IVC, a president's session, President Hernandez emphasized staff renewal and celebrated IVC's record-breaking milestones, including the largest enrollment in the college's history, record financial aid disbursements, and national recognition as a top community colleges. He also highlighted 84 professional development sessions and introduced Dr. Kimberly Lowry, who delivered an inspiring lecture on student success. A recording of this session was sent via email and is also on SharePoint, so I encourage all of you to watch it. Beyond these sessions, I attended other in-service events and chaired our legislative committee meeting. I also continue working weekly with our exceptional Mars Rover students, whose curiosity and dedication make every moment working with them rewarding. I'm excited for the year ahead and inspired by the dedication of our incredible staff and incredible students. Thanks.
Thank you. Trustee Rydell?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Well, tonight is quite unique for me, and I just need to tell you that I was approached by an associate from a law firm who told me that I will not be able to stay for 7.2 and gave me information that I tried to read, but I don't understand. I had no idea this would happen. I feel that it's very inconsiderate of this college to come forth in this manner. I do want to tell you that, and really I'd like to speak to the board members, that these allegations against me are false and any evidence presented is flawed. I have stated this to you multiple times. I believe this action taken by HR is providing the public with unproven false allegations, and you have to believe me that they are false allegations about me is unprecedented. I am told that there never has been an accusation of this nature made public, and because of what was done and the severity of the action taken against me just doesn't fit. And I believe that this proposed penalties are very severe. To suggest that I have a pattern of disclosing confidential closed session information, a pattern, is baseless and slander. Since I have been provided with new allegations only in the last few days and a resolution outlining serious actions, I am unable to comment further until I seek legal advice, but I will fight until I am cleared of these charges and my reputation is restored. I want to tell you that I've started my own investigation and my own forensics, which is not cheap. I ask the Board of Trustees to postpone the action for tonight, not to vote on this. It really is true, and I want you to know that in the little time that I've had to investigate, it is unbelievable what I have found out. I have never sought it after it before, but the allegations and the statements are not true. I have found truth in just a few things that I've investigated in one day. And I'm asking the Board of Trustees, that you seek truth and only the truth, and not accept the assumptions, the accusations, the opinions of the investigators. Remember, they were opinions, and they even say that this isn't factual. And it blows me away that they are trying to connect the dots because they have a bias that they have found, and they want to connect the dots.
Excuse me, could we have our legal representation speak at this time, please?
President Inman, Honorable Board, my name is Matthew Wang, Legal Counsel. Although Trustee Rydell is, we're still on board reports. Prior to discussing item 7.2 and the item regarding Trustee Rydell's potential censure, the board should note that it is legal counsel's opinion that Trustee Rydell has a personal conflict. This stems from Government Code Section 1090, and under Title II of the California Code of Regulations, Section 18707, and numerous Attorney General opinions, Trustee Rydell may not legally discuss or participate in the deliberations on item 7.2 due to this conflict. Trustee Rydell, under the law, is required to recuse herself and required to leave the room during any deliberations on item 7.2. If Trustee Rydell does not recuse herself, she is subject to penalties under law, including the Political Reform Act. I do not speak for the Fair Political Practices Commission, but they may seek any type of enforcement against Trustee Rydell. Nothing in the statement should be seen as limiting, however, her rights to discuss as a member of the public this item, rather than a member of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you. Let's go on with board reports with our student trustee, please.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to yet again another great semester we have ahead of us. I hope everyone enjoyed their break, and anyone affected by the fires, I want to extend my condolences. Sorry. It's kind of hard to communicate this. I myself am a Los Angeles County resident, or I was born in Los Angeles County, and I have family and friends, and feel the loss of many other foster youth who have homes, who don't feel like they have homes and they're taken from them. So I just want to extend my condolences. Sorry, as far as updates, in a committee meeting hosted by California Community College Student Board, we were able to establish a student trustee handbook posted by CCLC, and it should be on the website and distributed to future student trustees. We're making any last minute additions and edits, so if there's any ideas and thoughts, I would love to hear from you, and we can speak on this via email. I have the draft. We also have 2 weeks left to turn in scholarship applications, so I'm doing my best to encourage everyone to apply for those. And if I'm so sorry.
No problem, no problem.
If there's any recommendations that you would like to see from me as a student trustee, I'm open to suggestions, and please feel free to contact me via email. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go on to the Associated Student Government reports. Saddleback College.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, members of the board. Like all of us here, I've been in shock over the past week of extreme fires that have ravaged Los Angeles County. I extend my congratulations to the many brave firefighters who are battling against the harsh climate and precarious size of the fire. As a student leader here at South Orange County Community College District, I wanted to act. I have instructed Associated Student Government to set up a drive to give aid to the community colleges affected by the Eaton and Palisades fires. We are in communication with those colleges to hear what they specifically are in need of to maximize our effort. We are also looking to raise funds by broadcasting the Fire Aid concert here on campus. ASG is in the process of our annual Professor of the Year nominations. The Professor of the Year recognizes the outstanding faculty who excel in teaching and positively influencing the lives and careers of Saddleback College students. Our acting academic and divisional affairs director, Adriana Marr, will be overseeing this process. I thank her in stepping up for the role. ASG has also sent a couple of our members to another trip to China that occurred from December 18th through the 24th. The trip includes visiting the Great Wall, touring history and cultural museums, interacting with local Chinese students in high schools and colleges, and participating in cultural classes. This is a program which I have participated in the summer of last year, and has opened up a lot of students to the enriching culture that China has to offer. I commend Dr. Angela Yang and Professor Anthony Cezurek for leading the new delegation of students. This trip to China is expected to occur again in March, with more students eligible to experience this amazing trip. ASG representatives will be at our involvement fair to promote our organization and encourage our peers to join. We're also going to be going to DC in March with our ASIVC counterparts to work together to advocate on behalf of students in our district. We have a delegation of 10 students who are going this year. Finally, yesterday was Inauguration Day in remembrance of the passing of President Jimmy Carter. A quote from his inaugural address in 1977 states, "This inauguration ceremony marks a new beginning, a new dedication within our government. and a new spirit among us all. A president may sense and proclaim that new spirit, but only a people can provide it. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Irvine Valley College?
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you all tonight. My name is David Doberstein, and I currently serve as as a senator of ASIVC. I will be giving the ASG update on behalf of the president due to class conflicts. Thank you. We wrapped up our Welcome Week events through a scavenger hunt throughout the week where students were encouraged to visit new spots around campus, a game show night on Tuesday where students enjoyed team building and friendly competition, and a back-to-school mixer on Thursday where students could enjoy snacks and meet new people. We're currently gearing up for our spring election where we will be electing all of the executive officer positions and 10 senators. Our candidate filing period has commenced and will close February 3rd. Tomorrow and January 30th, ASIVC will be hosting informational sessions where students can learn about ASIVC's various committees, initiatives, and the responsibilities of an ASIVC officer if elected before filing for candidacy. Our judicial court is also reviewing and perfecting our bylaws, which will include a new code of ethics and a refined structures ASIVC where senators will be given a role under an executive by appointment post-election. Lastly, we will be hearing from a group of IVC computer science students at our upcoming legislative meeting to hear their proposal for the implementation of an ASIVC funded and sponsored hackathon, an event where teams will compete to build a project with a given prompt and will be ranked based on various factors at the conclusion of the event. And with that, this concludes my report. Thank you all.
Thank you. Can we have the Academic Senate from Irvine Valley College, please?
Thank you. I'll be quick with my updates. I primarily wanted to say thank you to those of you whom were able to attend our Flex Week presentations. It was great to see you, and it's, again, also nice to see you spending time in the colleges and hanging out with the faculty, our students, and our classified professionals, so thank you. And also, I wanted to say that we also extend our heartfelt thoughts and support to our extended community at Pasadena City College and Santa Monica Community College. I know that at Santa Monica Community College, 18 faculty members have lost their homes, and our students and faculty continue to face tremendous losses. So we stand with them in solidarity with them during this challenging time. Thank you.
Thank you. Saddleback College Academic Senate?
Thank you. I just wanted to be brief and take this moment to give accolades to our curriculum team at Saddleback College, Michelle Duffy and Stephanie Dialto, that have undergone or are undergoing the Common Course numbering changes. And in math, we've had, which is what I teach, we've had a variety of courses that have undergone the Common Course numbering, and they've been more than helpful, sometimes getting little guidance or changing guidance from the state. So kudos to them. Beyond, excuse me, beyond that, I have nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you. Faculty Association?
Hello, good evening. I'd like to start by just thanking Charla for kind of expressing some of those concerns, not only of just human beings, but especially for students as they're going through some of these things. Often I think we forget some of the individuals that are kind of less fortunate, not able to kind of quickly react and then recover from things like this, and I think students are one of those groups. As far as my specific comments, I wanted to focus on two critical issues for the district, that of working conditions for faculty and valuing its employees. At its core, higher education is meant to be a place of open inquiry where diverse perspectives are debated, challenged, and refined. For students, this means having the freedom to express their ideas without fear of retaliation or censorship. But equally important is the right of educators to teach and foster critical thinking in an environment where they are free to engage in honest, sometimes controversial discussions. Faculty are on the front lines of protecting this essential freedom. The Faculty Association will vigorously advocate for the academic freedom of the faculty, ensuring that educators have the ability to teach, research, and speak freely without the risk of administrative overreach or political pressure. We strongly believe that this freedom allows faculty to provoke thought and to explore complex, often difficult topics that will shape the future of our society. Lastly, I would be remiss to not express my concern over the impact of changes that have recently impacted our faculty due to the PPO pharmacy plan changes. In a time when faculty were preparing for the spring semester, a change to the PPO pharmacy plan was rolled out and has been both financially and stressfully impactful to our faculty. These changes were undersold and inaccurate to the Faculty Association, and although the district has begun working to address these concerns, much more needs to be done, and as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Irvine Valley College Classified Senate.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a short report. So we're busy organizing gathering of the senates currently. That's when we are going to be welcoming various leaders from different classified senates from different community colleges around our region. We're going to be hosting that on Friday, February 21st. This will be an opportunity for the Senate to discuss classified professional engagement and empowerment, AI in the workspace, and where we will actually be able to share and showcase the work of our IVC Classified Senate. We're also pretty excited with the collaboration that's been happening district-wide. We are busy planning Classified Day, so we're thrilled to be working alongside our Saddleback Classified Senate colleagues, as well as our CSEA union leaders. It will be on Tuesday, March 18th, and with this year's theme, our theme is rooted in our why, and remembering why we're here as classified professionals. We finalized most of the logistics and sent out save the dates to all our classified professionals district-wide, and we can't wait to see many of them participate. Lastly, March 18th, sorry, did I say something? Oh, sorry. And lastly, I want to give a huge shout out to Angela Mahaney, Jessica Rojas, and Haley King, who's actually next to me, who did an amazing job organizing the IVC welcome booths during the first week of the semester, helping students find their way across campus. And also a huge thanks to all the classified faculty and administrators who volunteered their time during Welcome Week.
Thank you. Saddleback College Classified Senate.
Good evening again, Chancellor and Trustees. While the Classified Senate general meetings have yet to start up here at Saddleback, I'm happy to report that our executive team has pre-planned several events for the spring 2025 semester to support the professional development of our classified employees at Saddleback. At the beginning of February, Dr. Casey Cooper, our VP for Equity and Inclusion, will lead a session in partnership with our Student Psychological Services Director, Lisa Shinitsky, and Emma Lenny, to supporting students who are stressed and helping to de-escalate those situations. In March, we're also supporting with the district-wide efforts for Classified Professional Development Day. And in April, our event will focus on leveraging district-provided technology along with artificial intelligence to improve effectiveness in our work, but also support connectedness with our colleagues and our students. Yeah, that's it for today. Thanks.
Thank you. California School Employees Association.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Chancellor Barnes, and everyone attending this meeting in person and online. I would like to start by wishing everyone a Happy New Year. My name is Haley King. I'm the first Vice President for CSEA Chapter 586, and I'm filling in tonight for our new CSEA President, Desiree Ortiz, who is unable to be here tonight due to bereavement. Firstly, on behalf of CSEA Chapter 586, I would like to thank Scott Ferguson Green for his 12 years of service as our chapter president. Thank you, Scott, for all you have done to support our chapter. I would also like to give a shout out to IVC staff who were all hands on deck when the power went out at Saddleback a few weeks ago. IVC's IT staff provided supportive services for their Saddleback colleagues as SDG&E worked to restore power. This is one of the many examples of the great collaborative work our unit does daily to ensure we can all provide quality supportive services for our students. I would also like to congratulate Robert Flournoy, who is the recipient of the IVC 2025 Celebrating Excellence Classified Staff Award. Congratulations to Robert for the recognition of the community service he has done during the almost 30 years he has worked as a custodian at IVC in his mission to feed those in need one county at a time. Our classified staff are off to a great start this semester, including helping at the campus welcome booths. Our staff came in before the sun rose last week, when it was sometimes 42 degrees outside, to make sure that the booths were open at 7 a.m. to help our students. They also stayed late into the evenings to make sure that there was always someone there in order to provide the support that they needed. Last week, over 5,000 students were helped at both campuses, meaning over 1,200 students were helped each day at each campus. Looking forward, I'm also on the committee that is working on Classified Professional Development Day with Erlyn and also with ACE, and I'm very excited with the work that we're doing. And within the greater community beyond our district, members of our unit I'm very proud of, including Kathy Erguin and our new communications officer, Ali Dori, who are working to get the word out about different community groups that are helping our neighbors in LA with the support that they need at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here from the Police Officers Association? Okay. Are there any board requests for reports? Okay, thank you. There are no public hearings. We now have a resolution. Our clerk will read the resolution, please.
In recognition of February as Black History Month, whereas the Board of Trustees encourages the entire SOCCCD community to participate in educational events, activities, and discussions that honor the legacy and ongoing contributions of African Americans. Therefore, be it resolved that the South Orange County Community College District Board of Trustees hereby recognizes February 2025 as Black History Month and encourages all members of the community to join in celebrating and honoring the achievements and history of African Americans. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved by trustee Jamal and seconded by trustee Dack. Time to vote. 7-0 vote, the resolution passes. But we're going to
is, and then having a separate vote on your amendment.
Or as an alternative, is it possible to amend our resolution so that it changes the board policy so that in the event she wants to attend something, she would need to get advance approval?
There's a whole procedure to change policy, and I don't think we can do it
On the dais?
yeah.
Okay.
Can I just, just to kind of reflect upon what was talked about. So I know our attorney, you kind of made a suggestion here. So one possible solution is that when travel involves kind of professional development and learning, that it be authorized. I think that was the suggestion there, but keep in mind too, with regard to using district funds, sometimes we purchase tables, let's say at the OCBC dinner. Trustees claim mileage, and that kind of thing. So we wouldn't be able to kind of, from a blanket standpoint, say not using any travel funds. So we'd have to really be clear on the resolution if we went in that direction.
As the trustee who moved to amend, I'm open to crafting this language to be airtight with what the board finds acceptable. To me, with the reasons I stated, I do not think it is a good idea to have a censured trustee represent us in, say, legislative meetings with legislators, and for the district to be paying for that, considering this resolution in front of us. But I'm open to constructive conversations about changing that before we end tonight. So if anyone, I'd like to, of course, heed legal counsel's recommendation, but with that in mind, I'm open to other statements and comments.
Legal counsel?
There are a variety of different nuances for travel that we would need to discuss for a complete ban. And also, well, let me rephrase. A complete ban on district funds for travel is administratively simpler to write in a resolution, but it probably is a baby in the bathwater type of situation based on my reading of the comments of your board. At this point, we think that this issue can come back at a later time if necessary, not necessarily entire the resolution, but the board can later craft a tighter board policy regarding travel and what it means to use district funds and what are allowable uses, and perhaps distinguish ceremonial versus educational, even though they can be very much intertwined.
So
Pendergrass.
if I'm hearing that right, it might be better to change the board policy to craft language that includes something about a censured trustee in the board policy versus having it in this resolution. And if so, I would withdraw my second.
I'm
Trustee Dack?
I'm also open to amending the amendment to say for perhaps a period of 60 days, in which however long it takes to amend board policy. I don't know. What would the timeline for that look like, Chancellor Barnes?
Well, usually we convene the board subcommittee on policy, and then it also goes to the B-Park, the district-wide group that reviews policy and approves policies, and it goes to Chancellor's Council. So it does go through governance process, and then it usually comes here for review, study and review, and then ultimately approval. So it could be a few months, 4 months.
So perhaps amend my amendment to 120 days instead of blanket. Is that more amenable to anyone for a second?
Perhaps then the amendment to the resolution would direct staff to explore changing the board policy to discuss travel arrangements for censured trustees, rather than directly prohibiting trustee Rydell from using district funds for travel.
That sounds like an alternative.
Just one other piece of clarification that's needed on the resolution where it directs the chancellor and her designee to do a referral to the DA for criminal prosecution and/or the grand jury, which the grand jury is really the only jury that could actually remove an individual from, an elected individual from office. I would need clarification because it says DA and/or grand jury, so I need clarification. And I think we should clarify that on the resolution before we approve the resolution,
Okay.
because it's the and/or.
Can we,
Trustee Dack,
can we finish the
Yeah, let's do this
amendment
travel
first?
part first.
All right, so your motion is ban for travel for such time as it takes to amend the board policy.
No, I don't
Or-
I don't want to speak for his amendment. I don't think that's what it is.
That is,
Oh.
for a period of 120 days.
So you're designating 120 days. But if
Yeah.
it takes longer than that, then, or less time.
I would, obviously on the back end board policy, I'm not in the weeds on it as much as the chancellor, but I would defer to her when it comes to, would it be cleaner to do 120 days or when the board policy is changed? What would your recommendation be?
We can't always guarantee the amount of time. I mean, we're saying about 4 months, but
Just clarification here, sorry, Madam President. So, and I thought what our council was suggesting on this issue was to, you said direct staff, but it's staff and the board, we have a board policy subcommittee, to work on developing a board policy revision that included what actions the board can take, including, I guess, restricting travel on behalf of the district and district funds if they are censured. I thought that was what was recommended, not that there be a 90-day prohibition, right? I mean, that's what I.
That's what he was saying.
Oh,
And
no,
then you
not-
change it to 120.
The spirit is, we don't want, at least, maybe the board disagrees, but my amendment is to say we don't approve of the action, hence the censure, and we also don't want to provide funding for travel and for conferences. But it sounds, according to legal counsel, that it would be cleaner to change board policy on that. But that interim period, I still think does need to be addressed in this resolution, hence my amendment. So whether it's 120 days or until board policy regarding censured members' travel is addressed, the spirit is the same. And I feel like it might be more airtight to say travel is banned until board policy is amended to determine how a censured trustee may or may not be able to travel and use district funds for conferences.
I have a question for legal counsel. Adding something like this without researching it as to other policy or civil code, is that a problem?
I'm not quite sure I follow. If you're asking whether it's within state law to make a minor adjustment to the resolution, it is within the board's right.
Okay, that was my question. Is there any other discussion?
We still need a second.
Is there a second?
No, I have a question.
Question?
Thank you. In listening to our council, I think it's a lot cleaner to go with the original resolution and then direct the board policy subcommittee to work with our legal counsel to craft what is appropriate and not put any timelines on it, because they're gonna work quickly on this to bring something back, to the full board. But that way, you've got the legal counsel and the board subcommittee, board policy subcommittee, working together to craft something that makes sense.
Okay, any other comments, discussion? Okay, so at the moment, we have a couple of different wordings, possibilities, and no second, correct? Is there a second?
What's the motion that's
Okay.
seconded?
Okay, I'll try with the wording. That we have a travel ban until the Staff and Board Policy Committee explore changes in board policy for travel and conferences.
No, I think what trustee, I don't want to speak for trustee Bartlett, but I believe what she was saying is to, there's a item on the table
Right,
that's up, that was motioned and seconded.
correct.
And that I don't think we can discuss it, but I don't think we need an actual motion and second and approval to look at the board policies. I mean, it could just be done.
No, we're looking for a second on his amended motion.
I understand that.
So the question is, do we need amend the resolution at all? And if so, what is the wording of that amendment?
I would note, if there's no board support for this amendment, I'm happy to withdraw it and pass the resolution as is. It is just something that I noticed that was absent that I think should have been addressed and discussed, and we have addressed and discussed it. And if no one else feels similarly to me, I'm happy to withdraw.
And so
Yes,
what I
Bartley.
was saying was to pass the original.
Right.
Or vote on the original resolution, and then just make a directive for the Board Policy Subcommittee to work with our council, and then come back to the board with an appropriate, at the appropriate time for the board's consideration to see what we want to do.
It kind of goes along with my question too about making sure we've done proper research and not harming the resolution in any way by adding something that turns out not to be okay for some reason. So is that the consensus? We haven't voted yet, but to drop the amendment for now?
He's already offered to withdraw the motion.
Okay,
And, I will withdraw my amendment. But if possible, I would move,
we
is
have
it possible to move to have a separate vote on said amendment?
we would want to pass this first and
Okay.
then make that.
Okay, I withdraw my amendment.
Okay. Then we have on the floor the, what?
Hold on. Now we need to address her request for clarification on the wording of directing the chancellor and designee to the district attorney or grand.
But I
What-
think.
What
no,
is the
she's-
clarification
She's
you
saying
want?
to do this first, get this done, and then have a separate thing about the policy.
No,
We're
no,
talking
no,
about
no,
DA and
we're
and
talking
grand
about the
jury.
DA and grand jury now.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. I forgot about that one for
The
a minute.
chancellor's request for
Okay.
clarification on what that means or rewording it.
Okay,
I guess, what is it you're wanting clarification on? Is it the and/or? Is it the,
Yes, and/or.
If I may for a moment, the district attorney and grand jury were chosen and included because they are directly referenced in the Brown Act provisions. And with respect to violations of the Brown Act and disclosing confidential information, it is clear that the district attorney is named and has the authority to pursue action. The grand jury is also referenced. There's no particular reason the board could not choose one or the other, and they can choose both. It's just reference in the Brown Act, and that's why they were included.
so is this a may or they will? That's the clarification I would want to know. Is this saying that the chancellor and/or board president is going to refer this to the district attorney and grand jury? Or that they may refer it to the district attorney and grand jury?
As currently written, I think it says authorizes. I'm looking at it right now. Authorizes, so
So they
Gives it-
can, but they don't have
But
to.
they don't have to.
correct.
Got it. And I do think it's worth noting when we were getting a presentation on this previously, that anyone can refer it to the district attorney. Is that correct?
Yes, there are
Out- Our knowledge, like anybody could do it.
Yes, yes, correct.
Okay.
And the same with the grand jury. And the district attorney could refer something to the grand jury as well, so we probably, do you want us to pick one or the other?
I just need direction, because it says the board's authorizing board president and chancellor to refer this matter to the district attorney and/or grand jury, so I would want clear direction from the board if it's or and.
My understanding is, from what I remember, is if it's referred to the district attorney and the district attorney decides to take it and then finds that there was malfeasance, then they give it to the grand jury to decide whether they remove the official from office. So I don't think, I mean, it isn't the district attorney and grand jury. It's really just
The
district attorney.
That is correct, yes.
So I would strike the and/or grand jury and just leave it at a period at the end of district attorney.
Right, and leave it at the district attorney's discretion.
Yeah.
Legal counsel, does that sound correct to you in your interpretation?
I think it's appropriate to submit it to, refer the matter to the district attorney. Excluding the grand jury is also appropriate. It's not inappropriate to do either or, but based on your board, it seems that the direction is the district attorney because he or she will have the ability to enforce or investigate as they see fit. So yes, it seems appropriate.
So I would make a motion then to strike and/or grand jury on the resolution.
And I'll second that.
It has been moved by trustee Prendergast and seconded by trustee Bartlett that we remove and/or grand jury from the end of the resolution.
I would like to ask a clarifying question. If, say, the district attorney has too much on their plate, does this limit us from submitting to the grand jury on our own?
That's a good question. I can't speak for the district attorney and whether that office will take this on. There have been a few high-profile cases in Orange County recently that I think would be interesting for the district attorney. I cannot weigh in on one way or another. As to the reservation or the waiver of rights, there are other alternatives if your board would like to seek a more stricter penalty against Trustee Rydell.
Trustee Dag.
My concern with striking out grand jury is if the district attorney decides to not do anything, we would have to bring this back, I would assume. But my understanding is that anyone can refer this to the grand jury, so.
Correct, that's authorized by the Brown
It
Act.
seems somewhat superfluous, but I don't know.
Trustee Bartlett.
Thank you, Madam President. I think just keeping it as district attorney makes sense, because the district attorney's office, they have not a mandate, but they have the authority and they review things. And that will be good for us to have the DA review it, because if they think there's merit, they may take it on and they may also refer it to the grand jury. So rather than us trying to duplicate efforts, let's get everything vetted by the district attorney's office. If there's merit, or if they don't want to take it, they don't have time, they can refer it to the grand jury if they think there's merit. But at least we're not, spinning our wheels by submitting documents to the grand jury when nothing may happen. So the DA is really good about reviewing things, and, we will know whether they think there's merit for the DA's office and/or the grand jury.
Okay, is there other discussion? Trustee Jamal?
I don't know who to ask this to, but, because I know there was a subcommittee appointed. But the investigation itself, are we confident in the integrity of the investigation the investigation that was completed?
As a member of the ad hoc committee, I am very confident in the evidence presented. For those curious, feel free to read the legal summary that is on our board agenda. There are various instances where you kind of connect the dots. An IP address that is linked to Trustee Rydell's home computer was accessed while she was here. And shortly after that, massive amounts of emails were sent from said administrator. This is all in the executive summary. I have no doubts about the investigation.
If I may, further on that,
Trustee
the full report that the ad hoc committee had to go through was very extensive, and it was, for lack of a better term, it was very damning. It was a lot, and they did a very thorough investigation. They interviewed a lot of people, a lot of statements from separate individuals, corroborated timelines, and basically viewing of what they saw and heard, and other instances occurred while interviews were happening, and it really was overwhelming. I think the word preponderance is too light. It was overwhelming, the amount of evidence.
Are there other comments or discussion of any kind? Then, since it's only 2 words, do we still have the recess? Okay. All right. So the only change then is to delete the words and/or grand jury. Otherwise, it's incomplete. Are we ready for a vote? No other comments? Okay. May we vote now, please?
You want to say what you're voting on?
We're voting on the censure of Trustee Terry Rydell.
And the resolution
As amended, the resolution as amended. Okay, vote please.
It might be on Terry's computer.
On a 6-0 vote, 6-0 vote with 1 abstention and 1 not present to vote, this motion carries.
There's no abstention.
There's no?
There's 0 abstention. It's 6 yes.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
I think
Let
the
me do
correct
this
term is
again.
recusal.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Okay, so on a 6-0 vote for yes, with 1 not present, this motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your help. Okay. 8.1 are foundations. It states Irvine Valley College is first, but that's up to you all, either one.
Good evening and Happy New Year. Thank you for the opportunity to present the Foundation's accomplishments from fiscal year 23-24. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Elizabeth McCann, and I have the privilege of serving as Executive Director of the Saddleback College Foundation. And I've had this privilege for almost 6 years, and I'm so grateful to be here. I'm going to start off with Saddleback College Foundation's financial position for 23-24. This slide shows total support and revenue to Saddleback College was nearly $3.7 million, and expenses for the foundation were just under $2.7 million, with a significant portion dedicated to program services. Expenses for the foundation, Saddleback College Foundation's net assets increased by over $1 million in 23-24. So our next is foundation net assets. Saddleback College Foundation's net assets were just over $13.7 million as of June 30, 2024. We're among the mid to larger community college foundations in the state. I like to say they're not quite as large as some of those that received those Mackenzie Scott gifts, but we're still keeping our fingers crossed on that, and we're working on prospects with that type of capacity and affinity in the meantime. Next are our Saddleback College Foundation endowments. The yellow line on this graph shows endowments that are managed by our investment managers, and those total just over $7.7 million. And this represents a nearly 500% increase from last year. The orange line represents Osher endowments, which are managed by the Foundation for California Community Colleges. These were raised by Saddleback College Foundation, just a bit over $1 million, and they also increased last year. The combined total of these two is over $8.7 million, and that is the red line on this graph. Our next slide shows the scholarships that we awarded last fiscal year, and it shows our disbursements over the past 5 years. Our annual disbursements are impacted by our endowment payout, which is based on a 3-year average of our investments. Thankfully, our investments have been up the past few fiscal years, which just means that we're able to get more money into the hands of students, which is always a wonderful thing. In fact, I just want to share out that our December 24 investment statements show that just our Saddleback College managed funds alone are right at about $10 million. The payout is also impacted by the foundation's responsible disbursement practices that are guided by our investment policy statement and our investment manager's recommendations. In fiscal year 21-22, we took over the management and disbursement of agency scholarships to Saddleback students, and these are scholarships that are awarded by outside entities to our students. So the total scholarship funds disbursed to Saddleback students by the foundation was just over $656,000 last academic year. For the benefit that the foundation provides to the district and college, this slide shows our direct support from the foundation that benefits our district and college, and that is included in our annual schedule of commensurate return. In the 23-24 academic and fiscal year, the foundation invested nearly $1.7 million in the college and its students, programs, and facilities. Okay, now some of the fun stuff. I'm going to focus on just a few quick highlights for the Saddleback College Foundation from 23-24 year. The first is direct financial support to students. Our annual scholarship ceremony is the event we truly look forward to most often every year. And this is our opportunity to honor the donors who make this wonderful support to our students possible, and also to celebrate our amazing student recipients. Saddleback College Foundation boasted a direct financial impact of nearly $800,000 for Saddleback students in the 23-24 academic year. And this support included over $100,000 in direct student monetary awards, over $555,000 in foundation scholarships, over $100,000 in agency scholarships, and then over $42,000 in textbook support. And next, for our scholarship and student support funds, our work securing new scholarships for our students never ends. We're always at it. We secured 13 new scholarship and student support funds in 23-24, and you can see them listed here. And then next are just some gifts of note. These are significant gifts of $25,000 and up that the foundation received. The first was $125,000 from the Doyle Foundation, and that went to our vets program. Actually, we had some of our vets here earlier talking about the conference that they were able to attend, and this actually did support not only student student veterans' basic needs, but also community building activities, and then the opportunity to attend conferences throughout the year across the nation so that they can also build community and share experiences with fellow student veterans. We also received a gift of $100,000 from the Sue J. Gross Foundation for Scholarships for Nursing Students, $87,000 from the Foundation for Community College Foundations for scholarships. Also, the Mockberry family, who's always very generous to Saddleback College, provided over $76,000 in support through our gala. We also received a generous gift from our community partner, Table for 10, and that was in support of Saddleback's culinary arts students. We received a generous contribution from Dr. Morgan Barrows and Anthony Pichardo, which includes a double match from Lenovo. A gift from Saddleback College parents, Holly and Michael Schwartz, in support of our gala. A gift from the Anthony and Carrie Ferry Foundation for $25,000, and then a gift from Trustee Rydell and Rich Rydell to establish an endowed scholarship for nursing students. And we're incredibly grateful to each of our donors. Now, just a brief update on our 2024 gala, Saddleback Shines. Thank you to all who supported and who attended. 2024 marked another record-breaking Saddleback College Foundation Gala. We delved deeper into our partnership with our beloved arts, media, performance, and design colleagues, highlighting the talent of our media technology team with fun newsreels and our students and faculty in Saddleback's big band. And it was a really joyful evening. And I just want to highlight a couple very quick achievements there. We saw another record year in sponsorships. It was our best yet. And in total, we raised nearly $300,000, and we still have a few things trickling in. So I'm very proud of my team and our amped colleagues, and of course, grateful to all of you who supported. We're already planning for this year's big event on Saturday, October 11th. 2025 will mark an important milestone for Saddleback College Foundation. It's our Silver Gala celebration. So when I think about silver, I think of shiny things like chrome on classic automobiles and stainless steel kitchenware and appliances. So probably makes sense that our gala will be at Saddleback at ATEP, where we will be able to showcase our shiny new culinary arts and automotive technology facilities. So please mark your calendars. You don't want to miss it. We're going to create a really special event to mark this milestone for our foundation and our college. And I just want to thank my amazing team, Paula Barrow, Emily Kramer, Andrew Hom, and Dana Taylor. They are a dream team. I also want to thank our dedicated board of directors, and of course, most important, the best boss and college president, Dr. Stern, who we just really couldn't be luckier to have a better champion and leader. And of course, to our board of trustees and our district's wonderful leaders and colleagues. We really could not do this work without you, so thank you. And I'm now going to hand it over to my friend and colleague, Alyssa Aransky.
Did you want questions now or at the end of both?
Up to you.
Just
Do it now, just while it's fresh.
Yeah, just while it's fresh. Is this putting pressure on them to finish the building by October 11th? I drove by it yesterday. It's looking close, but.
We have no ulterior motive, no.
October's a long time. Were there any other questions?
So that's a yes, it's going to be done.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Alyssa Oransky, and for almost 9.5 years, I've had the honor of serving as the executive director of the Irvine Valley College Foundation. Tonight, I am joined by the president of the Irvine Valley College Foundation Board, Damian Howard. He'll be giving the more fun part of our presentation, but I'm going to get you through the beginning. As has become our custom, we will show you the numbers, but we're going to focus on the stories. While the numbers are tangible and easy to process, fundraising is about the impact we have on our students and their educational journeys. At last year's scholarship ceremony, I closed the program talking about how we have basement people, those who drag us down, and balcony people, those who lift us up. Today, we aim to illustrate how the foundation and all of our work is about being balcony people. The first few slides are the numbers that are reported in the audit, so I'm going to go through them fairly quickly. I know you've seen them all before. So this slide shows our financial position. The most important thing to take away from this is that our total assets increased nearly $525,000 from last year. And here we depict the growth of our net assets in a graph, and they grew almost 11%. And I'm proud to say they're over $5 million for the first time. Part of our process is both Saddleback and Irvine Foundations are part of the network for California Community College Foundations. And our fees are based on our net assets, and I'm very excited that our fees go up next year because $5 million is the next threshold. So this is the last fast one. Liz walked you through what all of these bars mean, and it's our overall endowment holdings. It includes what is invested and what is available to spend. However, from the work that we do in our office, it's this graph that shows our true work. Anyone who has heard my presentation to the Board of Trustees and other presentations knows that growing IVC's endowment is one of my top priorities. The reason is because endowments provide an ongoing income stream in perpetuity. Through the annual payout, the endowment provides scholarships and programmatic support. The larger the balance, the more we pay out. To give you a sense as to the overall growth of our endowment investments, when I arrived in 2015, the balance was roughly $750,000 and the payout was $22,500. At our current balance, the payout will be over $84,000, nearly a 400% increase. A second area of focus and one of the most impactful ways we are balcony people is through our scholarships and our emergency fund. As you can see, the amount we award in scholarships has grown tremendously. This slide represents two kinds of scholarships: our outside or agency or pass-through scholarships, which is the blue part of the bar, and IVC scholarships in orange. The orange bar shows the scholarships that IVC administers, and the numbers in front of you show that we awarded $76,000 more in scholarships this year than we did last year, and we are working diligently to ensure that this trend continues. When I started working for the district almost 12 years ago, I can't believe that number. It was clear that everyone knew the foundation supported students by providing scholarships, but few knew what else we did. Here you can see the overall impact that the foundation has on our programs and students. Now that I have covered the numbers and the big overviews, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Damien, and he is going to share a bit about how we reached these milestones.
Good evening. As Alyssa stated, our endowment has been growing well. Some of the growth is due to market conditions, and some is due to additional gifts to existing endowments. And last, but certainly not least, through the establishment of new endowments. As you can see, we have 12 new endowments were started this year. We cannot share the story behind all of them, but allow me to share one, the Pam and Bill Hewitt Endowed Scholarship. Pam and Bill both dedicated their careers to building IVC and to supporting our students. In fact, Bill was a former president of the board. While they contributed to countless scholarships and started a few of their own, none of them had their names on it. By using their required minimum distributions from their IRAs, they established the Endowed Scholarship and created a legacy that will ensure that their support of students continues in perpetuity. While we have a number of consistent contributors give $10,000 or more annually, we wanted to highlight 3 gifts in particular of this amount that were from first-time gifts. That's the Wireless Technology Grant, the MESA Scholarship, and the Pro IVC Match. The $12,000 contribution to Pro IVC is the first time we received a gift to help fund our matching program. This year we had a number of great highlights, but we selected 3 to focus on during this presentation. Last March, we held our annual gala, Celebrating Excellence. We once again set a new record through the event, raising $194,000. A major factor in reaching this level was a $30,000 challenge gift from retiree Jeannie Agassi. Please save the date for March 7th, 2025 for this year's Celebrating Excellence at the Marconi Auto Museum, where we hope to exceed $200,000 this year. As noted on an earlier slide, we set a new record in scholarships awarded to our students. And yes, that means a new record in being balcony people. We expect that number to go up again next year as we announce that we awarded $559,000 in scholarships at the scholarship ceremony in May. In 2020, the IVC Foundation office team decided to try a new idea and held the inaugural Giving Day. As you can see, the event has grown tremendously during the first 4 years in terms of the amount raised, the number of contributors, and the number of gifts. This year, we added a new piece. During a planning meeting for the 3rd annual retiree reunion, the retirees asked to add a fundraising component. The IVC Foundation Board of Governors agreed to extend the Giving Day match to the retirees who made gifts at the reunion. It was a wonderful and productive addition. What is most telling is that the numbers you see include a few first-time contributors and a few who have not made a gift in more than 10 years. Now, the final and very exciting results. During the 5th annual Giving Day, we raised nearly $100,000 more than during the first year. Please scan the QR code to watch a video about Giving Day and to learn more about the impact. And also save the date, Thursday, October 16th, 2025, for next year's Giving Day. The Giving Day part of this presentation would not be complete without sharing a few of the wonderful pictures. Last, but certainly not least, is a slide with our board members. The people you see on the screen are constantly and consistently working behind the scenes to ensure that we will fulfill our minute message, which is the IVC Foundation believes in contributing to a meaningful experience that enhances teaching and learning at IVC. Every day we cultivate resources because we strive to provide access to an exceptional education and a caring campus community. Thank you for your time, your support, and your ongoing advocacy. I also want to thank Chancellor Barnes and President Hernandez for their help and support. We know that we would not have enjoyed the success we did without you. Unfortunately, we're not able to highlight the impact of the emergency fund, sending students to conferences, buying equipment, or building a presence in the community, as the presentation would have been too long. My hope is that next year we're able to spend the allotted time for the board presentation on the stories and impact and not on audited financials. This will truly allow us to illustrate balcony moments. Thank you for your time and the investment you made in the students and programs of IVC.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Just a comment. Damien, I want to thank you and all the other volunteers and the volunteers with Saddleback College Foundation. For those of you who don't know, these are volunteers in the community who have stepped up to contribute to our programs and our students through their treasure and their time. And we're very appreciative of what you do. It doesn't escape us the contributions that you're making, and it's very much appreciated by this board, as well as with the 2 executive directors as well and their staffs. The foundations are vital to this district and vital to this Board of Trustees, and you will continue to have strong support from us.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Again, thank you very much. The support to the students is fabulous. We appreciate it. Okay. We would now go back to 7.1, Board Policy Revision.
So moved.
Second?
It has
Go
been,
ahead, Marcia can take it.
it has been moved by Trustee Prendergast and seconded by Trustee Milchiker. Is there any discussion? Okay. Then if there isn't discussion, it's time to vote. On a 7-0 vote, the motion passes with a honorary vote by, I don't see it there. Is it on there? No. Okay, 7-0 vote to pass.
Be a
Oh,
student
it's up
trustee,
there.
yes vote.
Okay, now I see it. I'm
Oh, I don't know
sorry.
how she voted. but-
Okay. With an advisory vote
it's
by,
fine.
yeah, Charlotte Clementi. Thank you so much. Okay, 7.3.
So moved.
Okay, it has been moved by Trustee Jamal and seconded by Trustee Milchiker that we approve, wait a minute. Oh, okay. Authorization of payment to student trustee absent from a board meeting. Is there any discussion? Okay, then we can vote. On a 7-0 vote, the motion passes with an advisory abstain from the student trustee. Okay, the next one is 7.4. I refer it to Chancellor Barnes.
Okay, so this was a board requested report from the December 16th, 2024 board meeting. And specifically, I was asked to work with my team on developing a report on the feasibility of redrawing trustee district maps specifically to limit city splits with some examples given. So my staff did look at various aspects, including the legality, cost, a timeline, of a potential mid-year redistricting process. And so attached to the agenda is the report, but we also just have some broad slides to aid in the presentation. So just a quick presentation. So I would like to call upon our Chief Communications Officer, Letitia Clark, and our Vice Chancellor of Business Services, Anne Marie Gable, who will go over the slides.
Good evening, Honorable Trustees. Thank you, Chancellor. While Samir's helping us to pull up the report, we have the pleasure of presenting the findings from the requested report to look into the feasibility of redistricting during the mid-census cycle to limit city splitting, so to speak. So while we're getting that pulled up, just to give you a little background in order to come up with some of the findings, I did inquire with our former consultants with redistricting partners. Paul, who's actually one of the principal, the managing partners with redistricting partners, actually responded with a full outline of what the work would entail with a quote. And but actually in that communication, he mentioned that even starting the process was extremely unprecedented, that it's not typical. Generally, he did cite the Fair Maps Act and mentioned that it's generally prohibited in a mid-decade redistricting process. And he did note that the Fair Maps Act typically applies to cities and counties. And even if it was legal for school districts, that, again, it would just be very unprecedented and could be open to a lot of speculation and criticism from the public, just because it would be kind of out of that normal cycle of the redistricting process. Still trying to.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. Okay, you all can follow along with me? Okay. We did also inquire with our legal counsel, and they mentioned that there was provisions that would make it legal, but again, typically extenuating circumstances would need to take place in order to move forward. If pursued, as some of you remember, it would entail having at least 5 public hearings. I believe the last time we did this, we did 7. Of course, extensive public outreach. We'd have to establish a landing page or an additional website with maps that could be interactive, and ensure that there's ample opportunity for public comments. As many of you know, engagement from the public is the highest priority during this process. Public members can submit, draft maps on a napkin if they want to. It's just, the bar is very low to participate in the process, to ensure that every voice is heard in the community. And then once some maps are drafted, it would require another 2 public hearings for review of the potential maps, and consideration, of course, of incumbent locations during redistricting is absolutely prohibited. It's supposed to uplift the accessibility and voting opportunity of voters, and current electeds and their seats should not be considered during this process, as many of you know. And so we'll just go through a little bit of history. In 2019, that's when we shifted from the at-large to the by-area trustee voting areas. And from then all the way to 2022, we really engaged in this entire process. So even though we say it's about 6 to 9 months, it took us all that time to find a consultant, start, just some of the legwork in building our landing page, engaging with the consultant. And then really it was 2020, well, after the census, of course, and then 2021 was the robustness of the activity of redistricting. And then a vote was cast on February, I'm sorry, I'm not following along, February 28th, late February in 2022. But even after then, we still had to send it to the Orange County Registrar of Voters. And then it still had to go to the California Community Colleges Board of Governors. And I don't believe that happened until maybe April. So, it was an extensive process, again, as a lot of you remember. And Marie, I don't know if you want to go into the legal framework that we consulted with our legal counsel, or I can. Just to reiterate, we did speak with our own legal counsel. I think he was a little more generous, but just mentioning that it's uncommon. I don't think he explicitly discouraged, but mentioned that it was extremely uncommon to redistrict in the mid-cycle. However, the redistricting partners were pretty explicit that we should be very cautioned by engaging in a process that is mid-cycle. And as a communications person, I'll just say this: even though it may be legal, because we would be doing something that a lot of other municipalities aren't engaging in until after the census, there would be probably a light shown on us that we'd have to be very considerate of, and ensure that we put off a perception that we're being as transparent and as communicative and as open and accessible as possible, because there might be a lot of questions about the intent of why we would engage in a process like this during the mid-census. So just, from a communications perception perspective, I want you to keep that in mind. And then if we were to engage in this process, although uncommon, we would have to hire the redistricting partners again to help us with all of the public hearings. They would have to do all of the demographing work for us and would also help with setting up the public engagement. And again, a lot of the onus would be on us in posting everything online, accepting public comments, et cetera. Sorry, was I a little behind? And then it's just the same process, the drafting and review, the approval and submission. So total, we're estimating probably an aggressive timeline would be 6 to 9 months. And then Vice Chancellor Gable will outline some of the costs that's estimated.
Excuse me. I need to interrupt to entertain a motion to extend the time of the meeting.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved by Trustee Dack and seconded by
Rydell.
Trustee Rydell to extend the meeting.
Need to set a time.
Yeah. 9:30? All in favor, or let's vote? All in favor.
Oh, yeah.
On a 7-0 vote, this motion passes with an advisory vote from the student trustee. Of yes. Thank you very much. Continue. Sorry.
No problem. All right, thank you very much. So as far as the estimated costs, we did reach out to Redistricting Partners, who was the consultant that we used previously, and we received a preliminary quote from them for $45,000, but this is assuming that they don't have to do a whole lot of information on looking at how the population has changed. I think they would still be basing it upon the 2020 census. But if we asked for additional looks and trying to bring in additional data, then obviously that cost would go up. So I would say the $45,000 is the low number. We are estimating legal fees of going through the process of about $4,000, and then staff time and materials of just under $27,000. So a total estimated cost at this point in time is $75,500 of what would be incurred if we move forward with this process. And as Letitia already mentioned, once we start the process, we have to continue it. We can't stop it. So if the board approves moving forward with this, although not recommended, it would be a minimum cost of over $75,000. Then Letitia will follow up.
So just next steps are board direction, board discussion this evening. At some point, there would have to be an official authorization from the board to the chancellor and staff for us to start engaging with another consultant, and then the time clock would start for the public engagement, the public hearings, et cetera. And then we already went over costs, so happy to answer any questions that we can. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the board?
I have one question. Well, I mean, I guess it's more of a comment. I kind of hoped it would not be as extensive as a process, and I'll have a more of a thing to say later, but I want to hear what other board members think first.
Trustee Pendergast?
So in preparation, I spent some time this afternoon watching the February 28th board meeting video and went back through the maps and the discussion, clocked the timeline about Trustee Milchiker's concerns with Laguna Woods and Trustee Jamal's concerns about Mission Viejo, and listening to the consulting partners just explain standard deviations and like communal property or communal representation and all of that, and remembered how much fun it was to go through for the last time. And I mean, we did our due diligence. We got good advice and we went through it, and not everyone was happy with what came out, which is probably means it was a good decision. And I would be reluctant to go through all of that again, especially considering that based on the estimated timeline, we'd be finishing this right around 3 or 4 years before we'd have to turn around and do it again with the next census. So I would not be in support of re-engaging this.
I have a question, then a comment. Thank you both, Anne-Marie and Letitia, for your presentation. So Orange County has 34 cities, 4 community college districts, a board of supervisors, special districts, water districts. How many of those public agencies are engaging in a mid-year redistricting, mid-decade redistricting at the moment?
So I don't have that exact data, but I guarantee you we would hear about it if someone was doing it mid-cycle because it is so uncommon.
Okay, so the assumption is the number is 0.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was very surprised this board approved this moving forward with this last month. I voted against it. I think this was not a wise use of staff time. Having said that, I think the maps are flawed. You mentioned Mission Viejo. Of course, that's in my area. Now it's been split. Had not been split until the 2024 election when I ran in area and thankfully won. I think this is not a wise move. I do not think we should move forward. And I think that we're demonstrating, we need to focus on keeping the colleges great, the academic excellence at the top of the state and the nation. And I appreciate your, I think the staff time, frankly, you're underestimating. I don't think that our staff should be focused on this issue. There's no extenuating circumstance to do this at this time. Again, having said that, the maps are flawed. We look very petulant in trying to move forward with this. I think it's absolutely the wrong move, and I'm definitely not going to support this item. Thank you.
Trustee Bartlett?
Thank you, Madam President. So as I stated in last month's meeting, there's no rational basis for a mid-census cycle redistricting. The last census was in 2020, and the redistricting went into effect in 2022. There's not been a spike in population in that short period of time between then and now, or any legal, compelling, or rational justification to warrant a redistricting now. The proposed dollar amounts are, frankly, I know, ridiculously low because I've been through this at the county.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it doesn't take into account the flurry of voter rights lawsuits that are going to come our way that we would have to defend. So for sake of example, if the total cost ends up being complete $1 million, and it could conceivably cost that with all the public hearings, et cetera, those dollars could be spent to address the ongoing needs of many students, like food insecurity, housing allowances, or to enhance the curriculum for education. Our mission to help or benefit students does not occur with a mid-cycle redistricting. Residents and students are welcome and encouraged to attend any of our 3 campuses, regardless of which city they reside. So instead of helping students, we would actually be squandering a lot of money and harm the very population our mission states we serve and should benefit because of a decision that lacks the fundamentals relative to leadership and good governance. So a mid-cycle redistricting does not benefit students at all, but what it does is it disenfranchises the voters that casted their votes for each of us to serve in our current trustee districts. We already have a full plate as trustees this year, addressing the many challenges and opportunities of governance, and we don't need to put ourselves in the spotlight, as was mentioned prior. We don't need to be in the spotlight sort of with an ill-fated redistricting maneuver and have people question our leadership on this board. And I've been receiving calls and emails as to what on earth our board is up to. And that's not the kind of spotlight you want. You want to have spotlighted the great achievements of our board and our students and our faculty. In addition, we'd end up spending a ton of money defending lawsuits, potential recall efforts, and to take away precious time from our core mission to enhancing the education experience for the thousands of students who choose our college campuses over others in the region. So I strongly urge my fellow trustee colleagues to reject the proposal and to vote no on this. And when you talk about potentially utilizing the 2020 census, I don't even think that's legal to do that, because between 2020 and now, there have been small changes in population, and you have to have a very exacting number when you do redistricting. You can't just pick numbers out of the air and say, we're going to use a census that's 5 years old and run with it and redraw the lines. Definite legal challenges there. And we have to stay within the statistical standard deviation, which is extremely small. So we would be bringing on a whole host of problems, and I am definitely not in favor of moving forward on this for all the reasons I stated. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Milchiker?
Okay, I just want to mention that during the last redistricting, which is always a very stressful, which is always a very stressful, time-consuming, and just not a fun event to go through redistricting. I really wasn't happy with the fact that that was the first time that our district was going to be broken up into districts where the trustees ran at a district rather than ran at large. Prior to that, the trustees ran at large, and we had over 1 million voters, or over 1 million people in the district, close to 1 million voters. And that broke up the district into wards, and so each trustee had their own ward. So it was actually more important than any other redistricting in the past. And we've always redistricted after every 10-year census because the population shifts, and you have to have about the same number of voters per trustees, and that's the law. So this had to be the same number of voters for trustees. I wasn't happy with it because I felt that many of the cities and municipalities were broken up, and I really felt they should be kept together. But in the end, when the board came across for the final vote, I voted for it. And I said, I know I wasn't really happy with some of the decisions that our consultants made, or some of the suggestions our consultants made, but in solidarity with the board, I'm going to vote for it because we're sticking together as a board, and I'm going to support this decision of the board. So that I felt that it was very important. So when Trustee Dack came forward with his proposal to do another redistricting, my feeling was, well, he's a trustee, he's an equal member of the board, he has a right to ask for a proposal to something to bring before the board. So I didn't vote to do redistricting, I voted to have this proposal brought before the board in support of our newest, youngest, next generation trustee, so that we could discuss it and see the proposal, see how much it costs, see what the parameters were. And now that not that much staff time has been, was much staff time utilized in putting this report together or not?
Yes.
Oh, it was? Okay, sorry. But now that we know that it's going to cost $75,000, that it's highly unusual, nobody does mid-district,
Mid-cycle.
between the different
Mid-decade, mid-cycle.
mid-cycle redistricting, and even in some of the information that we got in some of the information that you prepared for us, it says under the key considerations, it states that mid-cycle redistricting is permitted mainly due to population shifts, but extremely uncommon and discouraged. So when I read that, I thought, you know, it's extremely unusual. It's extremely unusual and discouraged. You know, I'm not 100% happy with the way, with actually the trustee areas, but, you know, I could live with them, and I have lived with them, and I haven't really complained about them much. But I feel that it's really not worth it to spend $75,000 in district and staff time on this. We should wait for the next census, and after the next census, if there's a great population shift, by law, we're going to have to change the trustee areas to make sure that every trustee has the same number of voters in their district, and we'll do it at that time. So I'm concerned about prudent ways to spend taxpayer money, and certainly I'd rather spend it on the students than on redistricting now. Unless it's, by law, we have to do it after the census, so that we'll do it then. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Rydell?
Quickly, I have two comments. When I was reading this, I was probably further on, almost to the end, and I thought, my goodness, who wrote this? This is excellent. It was quick, concise, and I went back 3 times trying to find your names. Next time, put your names on it. You deserve it. Honest to goodness, I thought it was, and thank you for doing it so quickly. I knew this took a lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of data was needed. My second question was, Trustee Dack, last month, it was, December's meeting, and I thought we asked you why you wanted to do it, but I wasn't quite sure, and I couldn't read my writing, of why you wanted this to be done. I mean, we did mention that this would be costly, but I don't understand the purpose.
Well, I want you to finish. Is that your last thing? Because I can go. Okay. So first off, my board request for report was mostly for information. I'm not committed to pushing forward through a redistricting process. I obviously wanted to know if it was even legal, what's the feasibility, the cost. I think all of those things added up. It seems unreasonable to do. My hope would have been, well, if there's a population that you move between districts that's under a certain amount, you could do it and we could clean up some of these districts. But this was mostly a call for information, just for better understanding. You know, and I do want to ask one question. Is it possible that lawsuits could occur because we have split so many cities?
I mean, I'm not legal counsel, but I would think it's tough. We, as Trustee Prendergast mentioned, the last process that we went to was extremely thorough. We had consultants that are not only well-respected, but well-utilized throughout the state for the same process. And so engaging in such a thorough process, I think, kind of helped us ensure that we shouldn't have problems in that arena. If we did anything different, I think we would be open to, legal concerns. But we were so thorough in an extensive process that I don't see that as a concern. And we haven't heard about any complaints from the public since redistricting. And we've had now elections since then, and things seem to have gone pretty well, particularly from the voters' perspective.
Well, the only reason I ask is because after researching of all of South Orange County, these are the only cities that are fully contained within a single district. San Juan, San Clemente, Rancho Mission Viejo, which is a census-designated place, Coto de Caza, Las Flores, census-designated place, and North Tustin, census-designated place. Those are the only areas and cities that are fully contained within a single district. And to me, on the face, those look like very white districts. So I'm concerned about possible lawsuits in that. Every other city, Irvine, Mission Viejo, Lake Forest, Tustin, Laguna Niguel, Aliso Viejo, Rancho Santa Margarita, Dana Point, Laguna Hills, Ladera Ranch, Laguna Beach, Laguna Woods, Trabuco Canyon, all of those are not in a single district. They are split between either 2, 3, or 4 districts. And that is what my concern is.
Yes.
Okay, so I was on the Board of Supervisors, and we had to deal with 34 cities and 5 supervisorial districts. And when you have that, and we have 3.2 million people in the county, the redistricting process is very long and arduous and very expensive. And it's nearly impossible. In South Orange County, we have, so when I was 5th District Supervisor, I had 12 cities plus the unincorporated areas. And when you talk about trying to keep cities whole during the redistricting process, it's very, very difficult because you have to stay within that very tight standard deviation, and all of your cities have to be contiguous. You can't have little islands out here to try to cobble together the population that you need for a particular district. So they've got to all be contiguous. And when you've got 7 trustee districts like we have and that many cities, you're going to have a multitude of city splits because you have to take into account any communities of interest. You've got to take into account the standard deviation. You have to stay within a very small margin. And in order to do that, cities are going to be split. But that being said, even though cities are split, when you talk about the population, if you were to ask voters out there or students, what trustee district are you in? Who's your representative? Do you feel disenfranchised relative to going to college? That's the beauty of it. Regardless of where they live, whether it's in one part of Irvine that might be in Trustee District 3 or another part of Irvine that might be in Trustee District 4, they get the same wonderful opportunity to go to any of our 3 campuses. And that really applies to, any resident anywhere in the county. So by looking at, what we're trying to do with a mid-cycle on redistricting or just the redistricting process in general, there's so many guidelines that have to be followed. And once the maps are approved, you have your public hearings, you get input, your maps are voted on, and they're approved. That's why everybody stays put for the next 10 years. And I don't think there would be any legal challenges unless you had an enormous spike in population and somebody from the public brought that forward. So I think we're pretty secure. I don't think we're going to have any legal challenges. In fact, I don't know of any legal challenges after the final maps have been approved, whether it be a college board or counties or boards of education, et cetera. So I think, we're pretty secure until the next redistricting cycle. The next census will be in 2030, and then we'll have another redistricting cycle and the opportunity at that point to redraw the lines, have public input, and choose new maps. Thank you.
Trustee Bartlett, you bring up an interesting point with your service on the Board of Supervisors. It probably mimics this district very well in terms of just how large it is and how many residents we have in this area. So it's a good example because it's hard to wrap your mind around how big our district really is, especially in comparison to the other community college districts here in Orange County.
Right, and the other community college districts are different, and other parts of the county are different. So the 5th district has the most cities and the most unincorporated areas. The other 4 supervisorial districts, they were able to keep a number of cities whole because their entire district only had 4 cities, where we have a multitude we've got 12 plus unincorporated areas. So it's vastly different, South County versus the rest of the county, relative to cities and population.
Well, I would also add, South County is less population dense, so there are actually fewer people. You should be able to shove more cities in a single district. In fact, one of the cities I have here, Trabuco Canyon, I believe that's also a census designated place. 2020 census data has its population at 1,000 people. That is split between 2 districts. So it's just things like this I see that are concerning. When doing some research on my own, California Constitution, in Article 21, when it comes to redistricting for state legislature and Congress, which obviously we're not bound by, but their utmost importance is maintaining geographic integrity of any city and county, local neighborhood, or local community of interest shall be respected in a manner that minimizes their division to the extent possible without violating the requirements of any other of the preceding subdivisions. I'm not going to advocate we go through an entire process. Again, I was hoping maybe if there was a change below 10,000 people, we could remove some precincts. Like there's no reason why Trabuco Canyon as a whole couldn't be in one district, but if it's going to cost $75,000 plus in 9 months, I'm not in favor. I'm just hopeful that this board in the future considers city integrity and does not split. One of the things too I just found out, there's a precinct of Laguna Beach in my district. I had no idea until I looked at the map. No idea. I would suggest folks go on to our board policies and look at our districts. You can see the whole list of every city in every district, and almost every single one of them has an asterisk because they're split. And I think that's problematic. And it's not that, are you happy about your trustee in your representative area? It's, what area do you represent? And then I have to say, well, what part of Irvine are you in? Or what part of Aliso Viejo are you in? Or what part of Mission Viejo are you in? Or what part of Laguna Niguel are you in? So my concern is folks don't know. And when they ask, you can't really give a good answer. And that's my concern. But again, I'm not going to advocate for any action tonight. I think it is something that, with the information given, is best done at the turn of the century, or decade, excuse me, with a new census and whoever's on the board at that time making those decisions. But I do appreciate the staff time dedicated to this. It answered a lot of questions for me. And I like to just thank you guys for your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, I think it's about time to conclude the discussion. Trustee Jamal,
No,
would you like?
I think Trustee Dack answered my question. I assume you're not calling for a vote then? Okay.
Okay, so thank you. It's interesting and, informative, and we'll probably do this in 5 years or so. Okay, our next item is item 9, approval of the consent calendar items.
So moved.
I'm sorry, who said that?
I did.
Okay,
I moved and Trustee Rydell
Okay.
seconded.
It's been moved by Trustee Jamal and seconded by Trustee Rydell that we adopt the consent calendar. Were there any polls? Say no. Okay, then let's go ahead and vote, please. On a 7-0 vote with an advisory vote from the student trustee, this motion passes. The consent calendar passes. Okay, going on to number 10, business services items. Number 1 is the Saddleback College grant acceptance.
So moved.
It's been moved by Trustee Pendergast and seconded by Trustee Bartlett. Is there any discussion?
Great job getting it.
Yeah, congratulations.
Good work.
Congratulations.
Oh, okay. If there isn't any discussion, let's vote, except for those nice congratulations. On a 7-0 vote with an advisory vote from the student trustee, the motion passes. Okay, 10.2, Saddleback College Gateway Building Distributed Antenna Systems. Do we have a motion?
Move the item.
Second?
Second.
It has been moved by Trustee Bartlett and seconded by Trustee Jamal. Is there any discussion? Let's vote. On a 7-0 vote with the student trustee voting, this passes. Now we're going on to number 11, Human Resources. And on this, there is no student trustee vote, please. Number 11.1, 2025 to 2026 bonded sabbatical recommendations.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Milchiker and seconded by Trustee Bartlett. Is there any discussion?
They look great.
They do look good.
Yeah. Out of work? All right, let's vote, please. On a 7-0 vote with advisory from, oh no. Let's see. She doesn't do, sorry. Okay, so on a 7-0 vote, this bonded sabbatical recommendations passes. Let's move on to 11.2, federally declared holiday for National Day of Mourning, January 9th, 2025, CSEA.
Move approval.
Second.
It has been moved by Trustee Milchiker and seconded by Trustee Prendergast. Is there any discussion? Okay, let's vote. On a 7-0 vote, this motion passes. 11.3 is academic employees and management personnel actions. Are there any changes?
No changes, but one readout in accordance with law. We have one contract for the board to consider. Vice President of College Administrative Services, the employee name is Mr. Rodrigo Garcia. I believe he goes by Rod Garcia. Contract dates January 6, 2025 through June 30, 2027. Range 25, Step 7, annual salary 303,468, and I believe he is in the audience.
Welcome. Congratulations. Okay. No, we don't have discussion on these, do we? No. Okay, let's vote on 11.3, please.
Need a motion.
Do we have a motion?
Oh,
So
sorry.
moved.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Dack and seconded by trustee Rydell. Now discussion, now vote. On a 7-0 vote, this item passes. 11.4, classified personnel actions and ratifications. Are there any changes?
No changes, thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll
Second.
I'll second, but I'd like to mention.
Oh, wait,
okay,
let's do this part first, please. It has been moved by trustee Dack and seconded by
Trustee Milchiker, I guess?
Milchikir.
Okay.
Okay, now
Okay, I
discussion if
just
you'd
want to
like.
mention, there's one retirement I thought I should mention. Keith Prinzing, a police sergeant at IVC, has worked here for about 12 years. So we want to thank him for his service to our college. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Let's vote, please. On a 7-0 vote, this passes. 11.5, federally declared holiday for National Day of Mourning, January 9th, 2025 for POA. A motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Milchiker and seconded by trustee Bartlett. Discussion? Let's vote, please. On a 7-0 vote, this motion passes. Section 12 is educational and technology services, no items. And 13, information items. Can we read those or?
Yeah, just go through.
Okay. 13.1, staff response to public comments from the previous board meeting. Number 13.2, monthly financial status report. 13.3, Saddleback College and Irvine Valley College speakers. Do we have reports from administration?
All right, in 7 minutes, otherwise we're going to need to extend the meeting again. I just want to say quickly, there's something about the new year, attending opening sessions, and even thinking about this celestial moment with 7 aligning planets. Go outside and check it out. That makes you kind of reflect and think about things. And then that coupled with just even reflecting upon the invocation delivered by trustee Bartlett and then our student trustees' comments as well, just really reminds us to be sure to treasure our loved ones and the many blessings that we have. One of the opportunities, of course, that we all have is the ability to serve 50,000 diverse students who attend our colleges. I know that there were some comments made today about our students, and so I just want to publicly reaffirm my commitment as chancellor to supporting all of our students, including our undocumented students, our immigrant students, our LGBTQIA students, and the many other students who bring their rich backgrounds, and God, it's making me emotional, channeling you, their backgrounds and experiences to our colleges and districts. We celebrate you and we welcome you. That concludes my report.
Wait a second. Okay, second, IVC president, please.
In solidarity with Vice Chancellor McDonald, no report.
Very good.
Saddleback
Elliot
College.
can never do that, but I'm going to be very quick nevertheless. First, a shout out to Israel Dominguez at the back of the room. Credit for procuring that $3 million Samueli Foundation grant. Big credit and shout out to the sabbatical committee. The sabbaticals that you approved tonight represent a fraction of the sabbatical proposals that came through to them and that they vetted and decided were not all equally worthy of being funded. We so appreciate that hard work in making sure that program is sustainable. And finally, a shout out to Trustee Clemente. I know you're taught sometimes to not show emotion in public speaking. And I just want to say, for someone who does a lot of public speaking, that sometimes the only way we can convey something important to us is to actually allow that emotion to show through, and it's a good thing. When we think about the scale of the LA tragedy, it is hard to put it in words, but when we think about 12,000 housing structures being being destroyed in one city. That represents the total housing structures in all of Laguna Hills or all of San Juan Capistrano. So imagine how we would be sitting here tonight thinking about our friends and neighbors when it is indeed our friends and neighbors just an hour away that have suffered these tragedies. That's all I have to say, but thank you to ASG for doing a campaign to support our sister colleges up north who are supporting their communities. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Vice Chancellor of Business Services, Anne Marie Gable.
Sorry. Okay, so for once, I actually have something to say. In your board package, you'll see that I provided our budget update memo with the governor's initial salvo. The budget season has begun. You will see that for community colleges, we have fared relatively well compared to our other higher education institutions who are proposed to receive almost an 8% cut. The community college system has seen an increase for both COLA and growth, as well as a significant amount of one-time funds being provided for a couple technology initiatives, as well as credit for prior learning. I won't go into all the details of that, but if anybody has any questions, you can always reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to go through all the details with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chancellor of Educational and Technology Services, Dr. McDonald.
Report.
Okay. Vice Chancellor of Human Resources, Dr. Viscatel.
No report.
No report. So I direct your attention to other information items, et cetera. And unless there's something else we're supposed to do, adjourn the meeting.